Hello and welcome to this week's Stamping and Creating, and I'm going to be sharing with you today how to make this very cute fun fold card. It's great because it's only 2 pieces of basic white cardstock, so you can easily get one out of a sheet. And then how you decorate it is really up to you. So this was the one that I made on Monday as part of the Acorns chat and craft and chat. And Carol talked us through how to make that. But I think I've got all the measurements written down now. So I'm going to show you how to make it. Just bear with me a couple of seconds so that I can make sure that this is actually live, and hopefully it is. Look, well, I can certainly see something, but whether or not it's live is another matter. Yes, it is. That's great. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I promise I'll get back to you. And this video will get uploaded to YouTube when I get a chance. And on the YouTube, I usually put in the description all the measurements. I find it's a lot easier to put it there than it is to put it onto the Facebook thing, because that Facebook, you can't have a habit of losing it. At least when it's on YouTube, it's there, and you can see by the picture what it is, and obviously click on that then and get the description. So this is the card, or the mechanism, that I'm going to make today, but I'm not going to use the same paper. I am going to use the same stamp set. So this image here and the sentiment comes from the Full of Love stamp set. I realised the other day it's actually Valentine's next week. Oh my goodness. Husband's in the States. There's no way in heck that I am going to be able to get a card in the post to him and it arrive in time. But I am actually heading over that way next Wednesday, so I will be flying when next Wednesday's Facebook Live is due. But don't fret, I will have something for you. So I'll just have to take a card with him, but whether I take the one that I'm about to make, I am not too sure. So because it's going to be a little bit too flowery. So this is the image that I'm actually going to use, and as I said, it's the Full of Love stamp set. It's a red rubber stamp set, and you'll find that in the annual catalogue. So I'm going to use that image, but I'm going to combine it with some paper from the Regency Park 6x6, and I couldn't make up my mind as to which of these I'm going to use. I think I'm going to use that and that, only because then I can pull in some extra colours. I do quite like that background as well, but I'm going to use Night of Navy as my as one of the layers, and it kind of gets a little bit lost on there, whereas these two will not. I guess the only decision I need to make at the moment is whether or not I want to have my lines going vertical or horizontal. And I'll worry about that in a minute. I'm not going to worry about it just this second. So we're going to start with a piece of thick. Now this is you want the thick because this is going to be your base card. So I'm going to start with that, and you are going to cut it on the short side. Let me just reach for my trimmer. So you're going to cut it on the short side at 10.5, as if we were, so basically you're cutting this in half. So 10.5 is here. I'm just going to line this up with that. I want to cut, so therefore I want to use my darker grey blade. So just come straight down. Don't need that other piece for the moment. And then I actually want to then turn it and cut it on the long side at 22 centimetres. So just like that. So that's going to form my base card. And then I also need to make a strip, which is the other part of the Z fold. And for that, I'm going to cut it at 3.5 centimetres on that short side. So this is 10.5 here, so I'm just going to cut 3.5 centimeters off that, like so. And then again I need to turn it and cut it at 22 centimeters. So that's the two pieces that form the card base. So that's pretty simple. And then the only thing you need to do to these two pieces is that you want to score them. And the scoring is the same. So you're going to score at, this is why I have to remember and see where I wrote it. So 3.5 centimeters. And remembering we're scoring this time, so therefore you want the lighter grey blade. So 3.5 and 7. So there's that piece, and then again on this piece you want it at 3.5 and 7, like so. So that's all the cutting and scoring on your base card. And to put this together, what you need to do is you need to have the two smaller, thinner panels on opposite ends. So so for this one here, my two thinner panels for the back piece is on the right and the strip is on the left. There is no reason why, and you have to use your imagination here, if I turn it around, you can't have it reverse, so you would have that bit there. It's really up to you. So I'm going to keep it as it was. So the outside score line, you want that as a mountain fold, and then the next score line you want as a valley fold. So in effect you're creating a Z, and then you're going to do exactly the same with the other piece. So the outside score line you want as a mountain, and the inside you want as a valley. So when these come together, she says that, and she's just realised I've done it the wrong way, but simply just turn it over. You know what, I'm going to... So, go wrong, I went wrong, sorry. So the outside one you want as a valley and the inside as a mountain. So when you put them together, it looks like that from the top. Whoops, see if you can see it. That from the front. And then it will just fold flat and go into a standard size envelope. So that's your base card. So the next thing you want to do is you want to cut your coloured cardstock. Now I'm going to use a piece of Night of Navy. And the first thing I want to do, I just have to make sure that I've got this right. So that should be 15 centimetres. Yes, it is. That's fine. So I want to cut my first piece at 14.5. I'm not going to need, shouldn't need that bit, so I'm going to put that away. And I want a piece that is 10 centimetres, like so. And that will, and I'll just show you, that will fit on here, like that. Now, make sure I'm cutting it the right way. So that's the 14.5. So the next one I want is 3 by 14.5. Now that's for the panel on here, like so. And then I need to cut one that is 3 by 10 and then one that is 3 by 3. So if I do 3 and then turn it and cut it at 3. So that will go on here, and then this piece, I cut it at 10, that will go on there. Now you can, if you want to, put some extra cardstock and paper on that panel and this little panel here. So this is going to go on that outer edge there. You could put another one there if you want to. I didn't on my original card, which I've managed to bury already, as you will see. But I have a piece of cardstock left of Night of Navy. So again, I just want it to be 3 centimetres wide. And again, I'm going to cut a piece that is 3 by 3. Which will go on there in a minute. You don't want to be gluing anything together just yet. And then this piece can go on there. So I'm going to put those to one side and in the hope that I don't lose it. If I put it right in front of me, then in theory I don't. And then the last thing that you are going to want to do is to cut some of your double-sided paper. Now you could just simply use one sheet and use the other side. But I decided that actually I quite liked this piece here. So that's what I am going to use. And also you need to decide, do you want to put the plainer piece here and there, or there and there? So I think I'm going to stick with my stripes on there and there. And then, as I said, the question is, do I go that way or that way? And this is where I probably wish that I had actually used polka dots. Well, then I could use that instead because that's non-directional. You kind of have to think if it's directional as to which way you're going to cut it. Because obviously you want those two pieces there and there at least to look the same. On this one it didn't matter because my paper is basically plaid or squares. So it didn't matter whether I put it landscape or portrait. This one it will do because I would want a piece that measures 14 centimetres. Which means I only have a little bit here because this is 6 by 6 paper. So I need it 9.5. So whereas if I did this one, doesn't really matter. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it this way. So you need to cut the first one, which I'm going to put on the back, at 9.5 by 14. So I'm going to cut the 14 first. And then cut the 9.5. So that's going to be my back panel. I'll show you in a minute. And then I need 2 lots of 2.5 by 14. So there's my 14. Hopefully I've got enough here. Yes, I do have enough. So 2.5. This of course is assuming that I do want to use the paper on the additional sides. So I've got that. So that's those two. And then the last thing I need to cut is the piece that's going to go on the strip. So for that I'm going to have my lines going vertical. And I know I need a piece that is 2.5 by 9.5. So the 9.5 needs to go that way. So that's the 2.5. Like so. Which does not look right. Doesn't it? Oh, you know what? I'm going to cut it the wrong way. Oh, silly Billy that I am. Right, this is where I hope that I do have enough, and I don't want that one. So I will actually end up having to have my lines that way. Hey, so it should be 2.5 by 14. So there's the 14. 2.5. At least I don't have to cut another of those. And then I need 2 that are 2.5 by 2.5. Actually, I'm going to go that side, it's easier. Like so. So hopefully now I've got everything that I need that's all cut. So let's put this to one side and bring back that card. The only thing with putting these extra panels on the card is it's going to make it a bit heavier to post. But I just wanted to show you that there's nothing wrong. You could do that. So that's going to go on there. That will go on there. That will go there. That will go there. So I'm just sort of mocking it up so you can actually see. And I've cut that. So that one's going to go there and there. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, just have the same paper for every bit. But I actually wanted to bring in that extra colour. That's that bit, and that bit, like that. So then those are going to go here and there. And then this, realised, needs to be 2.5 by 9.5. So I didn't quite make it. Got the right written instructions, just obviously I'm not very good at following my own instructions at the moment. Just isn't not a good sign. So that's that piece. And then that's that piece. So that's how it's all going to get glued together. So you would have panel here, panel on there, that large panel goes on here, and then these ones go like that. And you need to glue all of those like that before you actually glue this piece onto there. Now I'm not actually going to add those additional ones because I don't really want to add any extra weight or bulk to the card. But I know I will just make another one in a minute when I'm done here. So glue. Good old multi-purpose glue. That's all you need. Obviously, if you prefer to use tear and tape or Stampin' seal, then that's fine. Go ahead and use that. I just like the Tombow because it gives me some wiggle room. I'm not always brilliant at getting things on dead straight to start off with. Do my best. But the Tombow just allows that little bit of movement. So that's going to go on there. This piece is going to go on here. Like so. Like that. This one's going to get glued to this one. Move it around a bit so I'm happy with where it is, like that. And then this one, let's see if that's the same as that. So I think I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get annoyed that that's got 3 lines on it and that one's got 2 lines on it. So I'm actually just going to use this piece. It should be, yeah. Right. So excuse me for a moment. I'm just going to quickly. So hopefully that's 2.5. It is. And then I'm going to cut that at 2.5. And then I've got my 3 Night of Navy lines on there, which should, well, almost match up. It'd be close enough that it's not going to offend the eye by having only 2 lines on. So that will go on there. Silly, I know, but there you go. So have you taken advantage of Sale-A-Bration yet? That is the question. Because that's on until the end of the month. Now I've just gone and put that other piece somewhere. What did I do with it? I only need one, don't I? That's why. Silly Billy that I am. So we're going to put this on here and this on there. So yeah, so don't forget Sale-A-Bration is only on until the end of February. And if you didn't already know, there some new items have been added to what's on offer. So there are select items from some of the catalogues. So you can, there's a stamp set with dies if you spend £90, and then there are all sorts of things. There's paper, there's other bits and pieces if you spend £45, so that's worth having a look at. Because let's face it, who doesn't like free stuff? I certainly do. That's why I joined Stampin' Up. I like all the benefits that I get. And then of course there is the joining offer. So you can choose £170 worth of products and pay £99. Again, this only available to the end of the month, and if you want to add a mini Stampin' Cut Emboss Machine, then you still get to choose £170 worth of goodies, and you can choose between the original white mini machine, or there is an exclusive boho blue one. And boho blue is actually going to be one of the new in colours that will be available when the new catalogue comes out. I know, I can't believe I'm talking new catalogue already. It's like, it's frightening. Right, I'm just going to give, I was going to say I'm going to give these a good burnish with my bone folder, but that's disappeared into the box for card and a cuppa, so I'm just going to use a block. Works just as well. There we go. Bone folder's better, but blocks are equally good. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this strip to the front on the right and to the back piece on the left. Now I'm not gluing it just yet because I wanted to make sure that when it's lying flat it doesn't buckle or anything, and it's fine, and there's nothing, well, there's a tiny smidgen hanging over, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Now I do need to be careful not to go too mad with the glue, because there's obviously, I do not want to be putting glue all the way down here because it will then stick to the back of the card, which is not a good idea, not a good look. So I've just turned that strip over and I'm simply going to glue that small square on one end and then a couple of centimetres on the other end. Oops. And you could open it out. It's just as easy to do that, and you want to just make sure that they're lining up. This piece needs to line up down here. Now I know it should line up because I've already just done that when I checked it. So, right, what's stuck? Ah, that bit there. So I'll just let that dry for a second and it'll be fine. There we go. So that's the Z-fold mechanism. As I said, I could, if I put that piece on there, but it just makes it just that little bit bulkier. So I'm not going to. You've got the back of the card that you can write your sentiment on. And then all that's left is to decorate this. So as I said, I'm going to use the same stamp set as I used for the sample, which is the Full of Love stamp set, but I'm going to use this one. So it's the opened, the closed envelope rather than the envelope with the flowers in. See, look, I have used a couple. This one I haven't. And I'm not too worried about putting the sticker on the back of it at the moment, because it's not one of those, because I need to stamp onto some scrap basic white. I don't need to be stamping onto something that's been die cut. So from that point of view, I'm not too, this is where I realise that my block is not quite big. Let's see, yeah, it's just hanging on there. Should be okay. So that's that. And I need some basic white. This is actually what's left of the front. So I think I might just stamp it onto that. And I'm simply going to stamp it on using some of the Memento Tuxedo Black, because I'm going to colour using some alcohol markers, our Stampin' blends. So I need to make sure that this has got a good coverage on, like that. And then I just need to stamp. And hopefully it doesn't miss. And it doesn't matter if I'm close to the edge, top and bottom, just so long as it does be on the cardstock. So there we go. So that's that stamped. And I'm going to fussy cut that because there's no die with this. So put that out the way for the moment. But I think I might colour before I fussy cut. The reason I'm saying that is that if you're like me, I don't tend to go in and out every single line, because as you can see, if I hold this up, there's quite small spaces in them. So I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. But if you colour these and go over the edge slightly, then you won't notice all that white. If you like the white, then that's fine. That's not an issue. It's really up to you. Right, so I've got some dark balmy blue. I was going to say that's light balmy blue, but it's not. It's Tahitian Tide. So I'm not quite sure how that got in there. And there's it's a light balmy blue. We've got Night of Navy, light and dark. We've got some Pale Papaya, light and dark, and some Mossy Meadow. And I thought I'd actually brought some others, but I've left them over there. I'm not going to go back for them. I'm going to go quite bold with this because at the end of the day, the paper that I've used is quite bold. I just need to make sure that I'm not actually colouring the leaves in a flower colour. So I'm just going to quickly, and I am going to colour rather than blend. I'm one of those that kind of likes just colouring with these. It makes life so much simpler because it doesn't leave streaks and things like if you're using the markers. That's that. I'm going to use, dark soft succulent on some of the leaves and paler on some others. These can be dark. Sometimes I use the brush end, sometimes I use the smaller nib. That's that, and then we've got some smaller little things, so I'm just going to use the smaller end for those. And this is kind of like where it doesn't really matter if you go over. She says, just realising that I'd previously said it, you know, go over, then it doesn't really matter if you don't actually cut in between. So let's just go back and do a bit of these, because it doesn't take a second to do. I don't necessarily want it to go onto the leaf though, so. Oh, looks like I missed a bit there. That was the lighter colour. Okay. And then what colour am I going to do these flowers? I think I'm going to do some of them. I'm going to do, this is Balmy Blue, it's the dark one. I'm not going to do the centre. I want that to be a different colour. Now that's the same sort of flower, so that can be the same colour again. Don't know about you, I'm not overly keen on the squeakiness sometimes. Kind of reminds me of school blackboards and chalk, that horrible noise. That's those. Let's go with, I think I'm going to go dark again with the soft succulent on the larger leaves. And you can make these any colour that you want. I've tried to kind of keep them to the colours that are similar to the colours on the paper. So, what was I saying? Oh yes, I've got my crumbs are in February, and I've got my first class of 2023 this coming Saturday. So we're actually going to be using the same paper. It's actually the Regency Park class. So we've got one class in the morning and a different class in the afternoon, and people had the option to simply do both, or just do morning or just the afternoon. Actually, they've all decided to start to do both, so that's going to be quite nice. We all get to spend the day together and craft. I'm going to plan something now for March and April. So that'll be fun. The nice thing about the February class is that because they've come for the morning and the afternoon, their kits qualify them for a Sale-A-Bration item, so they've got even more bits and pieces in their kits. And the class isn't reliant on it, so it means that people can just simply take them home and use them at their leisure. Balmy Blue, wasn't it? Okay, I'm going to colour that in a bit more there. Like so. And I'm not going to bother with the middles because I'm going to put some actual embellishments on it. So here we go with the fussy cutting. As always, the trick is to move your paper rather than your scissors. Obviously there are times when you do have to like take your scissors off or out, especially when it comes to fussy cutting the thick. It is a little bit more difficult than the normal basic white, but it doesn't mean that you've got an image that is just not going to flop around. So from that point of view, it's quite good. And then I might come back in a minute and colour some of this white so it's not so noticeable. Come So some of you may have seen or heard about the fact that I'm currently, for my sins, I don't know why I've managed to get involved in it, project managing the refurb of my daughter's house. So she and my husband last year saw this house, and she's been wanting to move out for ages and ages and ages. House prices here are just like, well, they still are to a certain degree, absolutely stupid. And in fact, it got to the point where if you looked at a house, there were like 20 other people viewing it the same day, and then there would be like 10 or 12 offers on it. And yeah, it took her a while to actually find something, but she and my husband agreed that this was a nice house, and it met all her requirements. And then for some reason, I don't know how, I managed to get the job of heading up and making sure that all the refurb went ahead. So that's what I've been doing recently. I haven't been doing that much crafting. I have been managing to do my card and the cuppers and my virtual card and the cuppers and things like that. But most of my time's been taken up doing this blooming house. But we're getting there, and I'm happy to say it's almost done. I had to go this morning, and they're starting on putting the flooring down, so it's like, oh, hooray. Bathroom's also going in upstairs, so it's like so many people at the house at the moment, they're kind of tripping over each other, but hey, needs must. I want it done. I want her in. Comes a point in time, Mum and Dad have had enough. As much as I love her, it's time for her to have her own place. And she's not a little kid, I should say. It's not like she's fresh out of college. She is 30. So I'm just hoping she's not going to do like a lot of other people are doing at the moment and come back. But hey, life is what it is at the moment. So hopefully, as I said, I'm going to the States next week. And then when I'm back, she will hopefully have moved in or is about to. Oh, and I can hear some of you laughing at me. You know who you are. They've kind of lived through this with me. Some of the acorns have had to host their own, had to host the Zoom calls on the Mondays and things, because I've just had to basically go because something had happened and stuff like that. So, hey, that's life. Nearly there. Yay. I have to admit, I don't mind fussy cutting. I know there's lots of people who really dislike it, but I find it quite therapeutic. So I'm quite happy to sit here and natter away to you all and tell you what's going on in my life. It's all good though. I shouldn't complain. Other than the fact that it's been horrendously cold here, but I think we are lucky. Right, okay, so that's fussy cut. There's a bit of white in places that I don't like, so I'm just going to kind of do that, and then you won't notice them so much. I'm not going to bother going around the little bits. Where's the light one? There it is. And we'll do the edges here. It just means you just don't really notice it then. Well, I don't. Right, okay, so that is that. So this piece is going to go on here. I guess I was going to say I could colour the stamp. It's got a little heart on it, so the question is, do I want to use real red or something for Valentine's? And I don't think I do. I think that might be a bit too stark. So what I am going to do though, I'm going to do the outer edge like this, and then I'm going to do the inner heart in the darker colour. There we go. And envelopes are white anyway, so that's okay. So this is going to go on here. And again, you can glue it on or you can put it on with some dimensionals. I think I'm actually going to put mine on with some dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini ones. I just kind of need to take a look as to where I want them, because obviously I don't want to be sticking it so that this goes to on the back of the card, and do I want it, I'm going to do some here, I think, make sure I've got, kind of know where I am, because I don't, as I said, want to be sticking it in places that mean it's going to be stuck to something and it doesn't need to be. I think one in there. That's that. And then that's all that's left is to do the sentiment and add the embellishments, and I'll be done. My goodness, I just noticed how much time's gone by. Oh, it goes so quickly here. Right, so that's going to go on here, like so. Let's double check that. There is a little bit sticking out, but that's it, like that. And then I am going to add some of these milky dots to the centre of the flowers. I think I'm going to go the dark blue. Right, where's my take your pick tool? So I'm just going to use that to pick those up. Add a little bit of bling, like so, like that. Let's move some of these things out of the way. Then the sentiment. So what's the choice? We have, hello there, sending love your way, always grateful for you. The other one that I did was sending love your way, but I think I'm going to just simply do the hello there. And I'm not even sure I'm going to put it on there. I might just put it on here. And again, it's up to you. You could simply just stamp it, fussy cut it out, or just put it on a strip that you banner, or die cut it. Or just, you know, you don't actually even have to use the whole of the hello there. You could just ink up the hello. There's so many different ways you can use these stamp sets. That was a bit of scrap because I don't think, oh no, there's a little bit here. That might be better. I'm just going to keep it in black, I think. That's a nice straight edge, so if I go that way, if I stamped it decently, which I haven't, but hey, turn it over. It's the first time I've used that stamp, so it might be that. It's either that or I just pushed a bit too hard. That's better. Well, it's not straight, but that's okay. I will just fussy cut it out, I think. And how you fussy cut it is really up to you. You could just go straight, or just around some of the letters. Oh, excuse me, I am going to sneeze. Oh, dearie, sorry. Sorry, I was out of shot then. Just realised. Just make that a bit curlier around there. That's it. Okay, happy with that. So, the question is, do I put it on here? Or I could just stick it on there. Maybe I will just put it on there. So I'm just going to literally cut off a strip off the edging of my mini dimensionals, or any of the dimensionals. Doesn't really matter. You've got to use all of it at the end of the day. Let's see, put it that way, I think. Just. That's okay. Oops. Sometimes the backing's a pain to try and get off. Close that up and see. Put that, I'm going to put it there. There we go. So that's my simple and cute Z fold card. So you can see from the top, hopefully, but that's how it looks. And so it folds flat, which is good. And then that's the other one that I made on Monday with the acorns. So they both feature the same stamp set, but different paper. There you go. So thank you for watching. As I said, this will go up on YouTube later, and all the cutting instructions will be on there on the description if you if you didn't manage to make a note of them and you want the details. So there will be a video going up next week for next week's virtual card in a cuppa. It will have been recorded. As I said, I will be, I was going to say mid-Atlantic, but I probably won't. I'll be over Ireland because the flight's not until 1 o'clock, assuming it's on time, of course. And then hopefully the following week I will be live at some point, depending on me being able to sort out time differences and things. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing this, and that you stay tuned and visit again. Thanks a lot. Bye.